got information that wants the Hydriots to make some contracts in order to carry coffee from Brazil to the Ottoman Empire, back to the 18th century. Which means that the Hydriots were very well educated regarding naval arts. Actually, one of the oldest marine academies in the world is still in operation in Hydra. It's on your left-hand side as you enter the port of Hydra. It's a huge mansion. And it's one of the oldest, at least in Europe. The Hydriots used to pay and invite teachers from all over the world in order to teach the Hydriots naval art. And as I said before, gradually they became really prosperous. And the peak of the island's prosperity was reached during the Napoleonic Wars. Because the Hydriots used to break the embargo that the English had imposed on France and on Spain, and in return they used to take money. And there is an incident that has been confirmed from both sides, from the British and from the Greek historians, that Admiral Nelson arrested our Admiral of the Greek Revolution, Miaoulis, which is a very famous local hero, and let him free because in his question, what you have done with a person like you, Miaoulis replied very strictly that I would have killed him. So the first explanation says that Nelson admired his courage and let him free. The other two different explanations, and I think all of them make the story true. A second explanation is that both of them were belonging to the same tectonic organizations. So they had some rings and they sent some signals to each other, and the misunderstanding has been solved. And the third explanation, which I have seen evidence because a colleague of mine in the Military Academy of Greece, who teaches history there, told me that Nelson and Miaoulis had common shares in a British naval enterprise. So they knew each other, so the whole misunderstanding has been resolved. Hydra, as a result of its prosperity, contributed greatly towards the Greek War of Independence. 140 battleships were built here. Before that, they were used for commercial reasons, but for the purpose of the Greek Revolution, they were armed. And actually, with the island of Spetses, they constitute the Greek fleet of the War of Independence, 140 battleships. Hydra had by that time the nickname as Small Britain, as a result of this huge fleet. And also, there are evidence to suggest that when George Canning, the ambassador of Great Britain, was taking office in Constantinople by that time, he took a ship from Britain and exchanged ships in Hydra in order to travel to Constantinople. Piraeus by that time was a village of 700 people. Hydra had a population of 29,000 people. So you can see the differences. And Hydra is also well known because it was the birthplace of 5 Greek prime ministers. There is a statue of them in our Central Park, which is a few hundred meters from here. And also was the birthplace of the first president of the Hellenic Republic. Very well known, he has a huge mention, it's Pavlos Koukoudakis, you can see his picture over here. And the Hydra then gradually started declining because the Hydra ship owners, they don't invest in mechanized shipping. They prefer the shells, and as a result they start declining. And then the sponge industry came to the fore, where the Hydriots used to travel all the way to Egypt or Libya in order to fish sponge. And there is a very nice custom of Hydra that on Holy Friday, one of our local churches put the epitaph in the sea in order for the waters to be blessed. And it's very spectacular. A lot of people are coming to watch it because Easter in Hydra is also very well known, and especially for this particular custom. And of course, the straightforward explanation that we provide to each other and to most of the tourists is this: we put the epitaph in the water in order to be blessed. But there is another explanation that my grandfather actually told me. All these people who were working in the sponge industry were very well paid, because it was a very dangerous profession. And as a result, when they were on the island, they used to spend a lot of money, and they used to party a lot. So they were carrying the epitaph after heavy drinking. And they went in the sea with the epitaph, but since the next season of sport fishing was very good, they established this as a custom. Actually, I believe the second. And there is another small secret, because sometimes there is an academic interest instead of hiding historic details. Actually, for me, it's also an academic details. Back in 1738, the island, which has a very strong Orthodox tradition. Actually, there are about 360 churches on the island. So every single day there is a different church celebrating, because the people were very religious. However, the Hydriots had cultivated diplomatic capabilities, and back in 1738, the cathedral of Hydra, which is over here, it's a huge cathedral regarding the standards of the island, a very rich cathedral. If you pay a visit inside, it's full of gold, converted in Catholicism in order to have commercial benefits by the Venice. This was for a few years, but if somebody practices Catholicism, you can see some traces of Catholicism as practiced by the local church. I think then afterwards this was ended, but there is a local detail that I like to say, because sometimes religious differences have political expediencies behind them. Hydra nowadays, it's very well known thanks to a film that was produced here, the first Hollywood production in all over Greece by Sophia Loren in 1957, Boy on a Dolphin. Since then, Hydra and all over Greece became very famous, and specific, the touristic development of Hydra and Greece in all over the world started from here. Thanks to this particular film, all the international tourist organizations, tour operators learned about Hydra and about Greece thanks to this film. So the people have a very high esteem for Sophia Loren, and there are a lot of pictures of her still around. Also, Hydra is very well known internationally due to the fact that Leonard Cohen, the famous Canadian poet and singer, owns a house here, and actually started his career in Hydra. And actually, our municipality is planning next summer to organize a concert by his son in order to honor him. And probably we're going to name a street after his name, because also it has helped the island a lot to become well known. There are other activities that are taking place in the island. I have to make a specific reference to the Miaoulis festival. It's a huge festival. It usually takes place by the end of June, the last weekend of June, dedicated to one of the main heroes of the Greek War of Independence, as I said before, Andreas Miaoulis. Because you can see Miaoulis festival derives from his name, Miaoulis. What we are doing in this festival in order to honor his death, it's actually we are taking a boat and we make it to look like an old Ottoman frigate, and we are burning outside of the port. There are a lot of fireworks, a lot of concerts, a lot of lectures, several events that accompany this 10 days festival. Usually the President of the Hellenic Republic attends the event, the Prime Minister and a lot of ministers. It's very well known, very expensive for the municipality, but I think it's worth it, because also we have to remind even to the youth of this island that this island also pay a lot of blood and a lot of wealth in order for Greece to become independent. In this particular festival, a lot of the whole islands participate, a lot of volunteers, because you have an actor, you got a lot of events, and it needs a lot of preparation, but it's really well known. And also I have to mention something about Admiral Miaoulis. If you pay a visit to the local archives museum, which is on your left-hand side at the end of the port of Hydra, in the center of the museum, on the second floor, is the head of Miaoulis that has been mummified and put it in a silver pot. This was custom by the a barbarian custom. The king of Greece, Othon, went to pay a visit to Miaoulis' house days before his death by violating the royal protocol, because for a royal family member it's illegal. You don't have to enter a house of a single person. But in order to honor him, he paid a visit to his house and he admired his courage, and as a result he ordered for his heart to be stored in a silver pot in order to be remembered in the years ahead. So we've got his heart in the Museum of Hydra. And also I think it's worth to be mentioned that Hydra has its own flag, its revolutionary flag. It's over there in the corner. If you want to know the meanings, I can explain it to you. It's full of messages and full of history. And Yanis is our deputy mayor, so I really want to thank him for being here. So this is the revolutionary flag of Hydra. As you can see, the reverse moon here symbolizes Islam, because by that time there were no national feeling. There was a separation between Christians and non-Christians, and the whole fight by that time was given on religious ground. So the Hydriots are going to beat Islam, or the infidels that they are occupying us and have deprived our freedom, with the power of our religion, which is Christianity, with the teachings of our history, which is the helmet of Leonidas from Thermopyles, and with the power of our navy, symbolized by the anchor and the snake, and the cleverness of our sailors. And our God watches our fight, sends His Holy Spirit to bless our fight and send us freedom, and we are determined to gain our freedom by making the blue sea red by sacrificing our blood. By that time, this was very shameful for the Ottomans, because even nowadays, if you embarrass or if you say something bad about another's religion, sometimes fundamentalism arises. So if the Hydriots were arrested during a naval fight, they were dead. There was no way of them to come back. It was very embarrassing to fly a flag like this, sending to your enemy symbols so sacrilegious, and be safe afterwards. Because they knew that if we would have been arrested, they would have been dead. It was, so you can see how hard the battle was between the Greeks, or the Christian Greeks, and the Muslim Ottomans. And you can see how religion once again has been used as a way of dividing people, or even of making political profit. By that time, of course, our freedom didn't have a price. So the Hydriots sacrificed all of their wealth. Almost 10,000 Hydriots were killed during that battles, during the Greek Revolution. We've got the archives here of the revolution in Hydra from 1821 to 1837. And this flag actually is the symbol of the municipality nowadays. The Greek Navy use it, not officially, but if you go in a Greek naval base, you will see flying. And a lot of, even the Greek flagship, it has been named after Hydra. It's a famous frigate, has been built in Germany. It's considered high technology, and has been named after Hydra in order to honor the Hydriots for their contribution to the Greek War of Independence. Coming back to the present day, actually, as you can see, Hydra is unique because it's a carless island. There are no cars on the island. Even motorbikes are forbidden, even bicycles are forbidden, because Hydra has been protected strictly by the Greek Archaeological Society and by Greek national law, and we are considered as an archaeological island all over the place. We are not allowed to use metallic doors or metallic windows in order to preserve the uniqueness of the architecture, which is more or less the same as it was back in the 19th century. We are not allowed to use strong lights, and this is actually what makes us unique. and we are really proud of it. Of course, the cost of preserving all these things is very big. In order to build a house here, you have to carry all the materials on mules and donkeys, which is very expensive. You don't have a big lorry bring you the materials, so you have to build a house here takes time. Which means cost, an extra cost, because you need workers to carry all this material. So Hydra has been voted by UNESCO as the best preserved Mediterranean island back in 1996. And there are a lot of famous painters still alive that were born in Hydra and have been inspired by Hydra. One of them is Panagiotis Tetsis. Very well known internationally. I don't know if you are familiar with his name, as I can see you are not. But a lot of artists still live in Hydra. There is a foreign community on the island. They are registered to vote actually, because according to EU law by the Maastricht Treaty, Article 8, Paragraph A, you are entitled to vote wherever you're resident in a European member state, in a EU member state. So we've got 80 people that they made the decision to register in order to vote. There are more of them. There are about 120 or 150 foreigners who have bought houses on the island. So we consider them to be Cypriots, because they have been staying here for many years. And this international community brings a lot of ideas in all the social action of the island. And we are going to organize a poet day, because there are a lot of poets, people who write poets on Hydra, and one of them actually helped us to produce the leaflet of the island for the World Travel Market that is going to take place in London next week. Actually, what you can see in Hydra is that we've got crystal clear water. If you come here over summer, the quality of the water is unique. You will also have some monasteries that you can pay visit to, but on the mountains, that dating back to the 19th century. And of course, Hydra is gradually becoming famous thanks to the working on Hydra. There's very tiny small roads that you can follow, and you reach a monastery, you reach a particular beach on the backside of the island. So a lot of people prefer that during the winter. And local people now, they are trying to expand the tourist season, because normal tourist season ends by this time of the year, end of October, and starts again back in March, just before the Greek Easter. But local people now and local tourist industries, they are trying to expand it. And towards the achievement of this goal, we are planning to organize some athletic activities, mountain running, working exhibitions, and some local enterprises are planning to have some workshop on Greek kitchen, how to cook moussaka and stuff like this. And so the island actually nowadays hasn't got any more its shipping industry, hasn't got any more its big companies that have trading relations with all over the world. Actually, it's based on tourism more or less in order to be developed. But as I said before, because we are a very well preserved island and we are protected by Greek law, and we cannot build 3-floor houses anymore, we cannot have ferries on the island and stuff like this, we have to develop touristically very slowly. So the island aims to become an exclusive tourist destination, as it usually was. So if there are any questions that you want to ask, I'll be more than pleased to answer them.
How is the demography? How many here in the...
Local population that actually live throughout the year, we are about 2,000 people.
Mm-hmm. And in which age?
Good question. Actually, the youth, when he finishes the high school, the Greek Lykio, tries to find jobs elsewhere. So There's 12% of 20% of youth. The average age I will consider to be somewhere around 50 to 55 years old. There is a life expectancy quite high here because it's a unique and healthy environment, clear air, clear atmosphere, stressless society. You don't have to wait for the green light or the red light to cross the road. No traffic. No traffic. You just have to care for a donkey or for a mule in order to get. No car insurances, nothing.
And for the next schools or university, how far is it? If they have to leave the island every day or?
No, actually, when you enter in a Greek university and you are a Hypriot, you usually go to different cities in all over Greece. So most of them are going to Athens. Regarding the exam results, they cannot decide, and if they don't own a house in Piraeus or in Athens, they have to rent. I also have to mention that when Hydra started declining, most of the Hypriots moved to Piraeus. Actually, the first mayor of Piraeus, which is now a huge city, was from Hydra, and there's a big square named after him. In Hydra, there are some people that, due to the financial crisis nowadays, that they choose the Marine Academy of Hydra as a career because the Greek shipping industry is still huge. I think it's #1 globally. So it's very easy when you graduate from the Marine Academy of Hydra or similar marines in all over Greece to get employed afterwards with high salaries. So a lot of Hypriots now are coming back and prefer to graduate from the Marine Academy of Hydra, which is the oldest in the world, as I said before.
You said you're going to be doing some more culinary, maybe cooking things here like moussaka. Is there any specific food that's specific to Hydra that's maybe not more Athenian? But
actually, yes. In Hydra, we produce this sweet over there, which we are going to offer you. It's a 100% Hydriot product.
Okay, perfect.
In Hydra also we've got 100% natural honey. Not in big quantities, but the Hypriots prefer this kind of honey. 100% biological honey. It's poor taste of honey. But you cannot get it in the market actually.
No export.
And there are some particular plates that are ascribed to Hypriots, but I will not say that they are 100% Hypriot. But this product over there, which you are more than welcome to taste, it's 100% local.
What's the easiest or quickest way to get to Hydra?
One way is by taking a flight dolphin from Piraeus to Hydra, which is 2 hours journey maximum. The other way is by taking a car from Piraeus and reaching the mainland exactly opposite, and then with another boat it takes you 20 minutes to come here. But
And the best way is to take the one-day cruise.
Yes, actually now the new Greek law enables you to take a one-day cruise on Monday, for example, and with the same price and the same ticket, go back on Friday, for instance. So this is a very good development, I would say.
Can you get some packages, like with a hotel specifically for?
Actually, yes. Right now we are working with the Hotels Association of Hydra. The idea of offering packages to tour operators, to people that want to visit Hydra. But I have to mention that Hydra has not huge hotels. There are small traditional hotels, old mansions that have been turned into hotels. The biggest, I would say, it has 50 rooms. This is the biggest hotel of Hydra. And also I have to mention the example that Richard Branson was planning to invest $30 million here in order to build a luxury hotel, but Greek law turned his offer down. He was not allowed to. The island was divided by that time, whether we want $30 million and we have to amend the Greek law, or we have to stay to keep Hydra as it is, so we are not going to accept this investment. And the Greek state decided the Greek law is as it is, Hydra has to be preserved as it is, and there's no way of saying yes. I don't know if they were going to have the same reply nowadays due to the financial crisis, but back then they were very strict and quite straightforward in replying.
What year was that?
Yeah, please.
1998, I would say.
Oh, okay. So no one decided to pick up the phone and be like, hey, Mr. Branson, is that offer still on the table? No, but it's good to preserve it in the long term. It's better to preserve.
He stopped flying Virgin Atlantic to Greece, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Where are you from?
I'm from the United States, but I'm Greek as well. My father's from Pyrgos, so I'm a Greek citizen as well, but my Greek's not so good.
Excellent.
I'm American and Greek, yes.
Excellent. Which are your nationalities?
American.
U.S. is
United States.
Dutch. And American.
Excellent. That's okay.
Germany?
from India.
Excellent.
Austria.
Austria.
Excellent. Actually, because I am a lecturer at the Military Academy of Greece, 2 years ago I brought some of my students here and we made the research back on the mountains, and we traced 2 German warplanes dating back to the Second World War. And there was a huge story behind them. One of them, at least, we had some eyewitnesses that the plane had crashed on the mountain, and there were 4 people died there. And I tried via the German attaché in the German embassy in Greece to find more information, because we had the exact date, what actually happened, but he couldn't help us more because all the archives have been destroyed. But the Hydriots, what they really want to do, because where there is a deathly accident on the island, wherever it takes place, they just want to know the names and put a cross there just for the bad spirit to go away. And what we are planning to do, and I'm going to do that as a mayor, it's when we have more information, we are going to make a ceremony back in the mountain, because there were 4 young people who were dead there.
When was it?
1942, New Year's Eve.
Oh.
Very bad day. And we've got a video on that research project and a lot of written materials and eyewitnesses that they are saying on a camera what actually happened. And it's very nice, and actually we are going to develop to put a small monument there and so people can pay a visit.
How are you managing the festivals? Are you then renting boats for the people to stay here? If I'm thinking of a huge festival, you won't have enough capacity.
For instance, actually Hydra over the last few years is also very well known for an ideal place for a wedding. There are a lot of people getting married here. There is a small church on a small island, just 200 meters of the shore of Hydra, and there are people getting married on there. Just the bride and it's just the couple getting married on the church, and all the others are attending the ceremony on board. You can see a bride walking on a donkey or walking in the harbor, and people applauding him, applauding them. So it's a unique destination for weddings, I would say. It's very popular, even among the Greeks. A lot of Greeks from all over Greece are coming here in order to get married. And also Hydra is developing as a conference destination. Small conferences can be organized here. There is a very modern hall owned by the cathedral of Hydra. It's actually on our right hand side as you go down. It has the facility, it can host 200 people. It has translation facilities. It's very well organized and very modern, and a lot of conferences are taking place in Hydra. Also, conferences can be organized in the Museum of Hydra. It's a nice hall, and even the municipality, where our local council meetings are taking place, it has the capacity of 100 people that can organize a conference there and participate. So there's another aspect that we want to develop regarding our tourist industry, which is, of course, respects the standards of the island and the Greek law. Any more questions? Feel free to ask whatever you want. We are here for it.
How long have you been mayor?
Since the 1st of September.
Oh,
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Was it a tough battle?
A tough battle because actually my majority was 24 votes.
Wow!
But please bear in mind that 24 votes in Hydra is 1%.
Ah.
So, if this result had been in the United States, it would have been of 2 million, but still 1%.
Das ist der Bürgermeister.
A big family here has a political significance. For instance, there is a big family named after Bulgaris. There are 300 members.
Wow.
You need some of them in your local party, and more or less you get there.
Okay.
Or if you are thinking like Machiavelli, get married with them. If you want to be mayor for many years. But actually, the local people have very mature political education. They know what they want. Actually, I'm the youngest mayor over the last 180 years.
Wow.
And I broke a tradition because I'm the first who has been elected by the triumph for the first time. Usually, because the island is a little bit conservative, it's afraid of drastic change, and especially it's afraid of trusting a young person to run its common life. But actually, we got there.
What are the older people doing here? Because Hydra, you have to walk a lot.
You work? They are working.
No, walking.
Yes.
Because if they live up there and so on.
Some of them are in very good condition. If you see some
So
old
it's a
people
climate?
in their 90s,
Uh-huh.
they are still working. You can see them in the cafes, still talking about politics, criticizing me. And well, of course, there are some of them. They are stuck in their houses. It's very hard to
that's why I think.
to deal with 300 or 400 steps on a daily basis.
Yeah.
There are some people, in order to get to their houses, they have to deal with 600 steps, 700 steps, and in upwards direction.
Yeah.
That's what they keep them young.
In a point, yes, it keeps you going and keeps you in energy. And all of them, because they are coming on a daily basis in the port in order to buy fresh fish. They are fishing boats on a daily basis. They sell fish because sometimes when the weather is very rough, you don't get fresh fish. But on a daily basis, around 9 o'clock, there are boats, fishing boats. They are selling the fresh fish. When we mean fresh, we mean fresh because it's 2 hours old. This fish that has been cut.
Young people need a internet access. How is it here in
Of
Ireland?
course, we've got internet access.
Yeah, how
we've
well?
got satellite TV, and of course, the people are, especially the young people, are very well educated regarding new technologies. And a lot of us are studying abroad. They are achieving big positions in several Greek enterprises, and even in politics.
Good.
I have studied abroad.
Where did you study? Which
I
university?
studied in UK.
Which?
I was at Exeter for my first degree and at Cambridge for my MPhil.
Oh, very nice.
With our scholars. And there are a lot of academics that they have bought houses here from foreign universities and from Greek universities. And this is actually the point of Hydra. It has a quality people of educational quality, I would say, that are coming here. And because they like peace and quiet.
So you don't miss a big city, or you would love to live in a big city?
I used to work in Athens, but I never liked it. It was a matter of choice of me coming back here.
Is there any farming locally in Hydra?
Very low standards, no farming actually. Not at all, I would say. It's a rock actually. It's a rock. And this is the reason why some people came and inhabited here, in order to be protected by the Ottoman rule. And actually Lord Byron, a famous British poet, wrote a poet about Hydra. It started the poet by referring to Hydra as a big rock. Big and high rock. And however, there are some travelers back in 1823, during the Greek Revolution. George Wellington was one of them, British traveler, paying a visit to Hydra. And he says that the Hydrians were very rich. They used to eat caviar, something very unusual regarding all over the rest of Greece. And he met one of the Greek ship owners, Hydra ship owners by that time, and he asked him, why you choose such a place to live? Because you're so rich. And the Hydra ship owner replied, we didn't choose the place, freedom chose it for us. Because nobody wanted Hydra, so they came here and they started developing in shipping industry.
So the only thing you produce here is cheese, I guess?
No, it's not even cheese.
No, not even
cheese.
cheese. No.
It's back a few decades ago. Yes,
Yeah.
some people used to produce cheese and milk, but now it's not profitable anymore.
Oh, okay.
There are some small families that they produce cheese, but just for family use. So don't expect to have it in local shops.
There'll be some, I'm sorry to interrupt, some trade within the families as well, like some families that make cheese might trade with a family that makes another, yeah.
They don't exchange products anymore, but it's a family habit. If you want good food for your family, you make sure that you buy cheese from Hydra, find a specific family that produces cheese, and you buy cheese from Hydra, honey from Hydra, and sometimes even your meat has to be a local animal because it's, most of them are biological, and this small farming, the Hydrats leave their animals on small islands around Hydra, so they don't have to pay in order to feed them. And they go and pick them up, and those animals sometimes, because there is a lack of water, they drink sea, and they are more tasty because of the salty water.
Salty.
Pre-salted.
Yeah.
Anything else?
People are working in tourism only, right?
Actually, the main income of Hydra, I think, comes from tourism. But actually, there are a lot of builders in Hydra, and also there are a lot of people who are still working in the Greek shipping industry as captains, most of them, because they have graduated from the Marine Academy of Hydra. A few decades ago, back in the 50s and 60s, it was very prestigious to graduate from the Marine Academy of Hydra. Very prestigious. You could have the best wife. It was something like Cambridge, more or less. And it still is. In the mentality of some people, they really want their children to follow their own career. They think that you have to go to the Marine Academy of Hydra. It's a high competition to get in there. Our deputy mayor has graduated from there. Anything else?
You mentioned before that in ancient time you had these 140 or 100 something ships built here in Hydra.
There were 140 battleships. Armed ships.
I'm wondering how they built it here.
Yes, they were built on Hydra.
Yeah, but
in a place on Kolmandraki.
Where did they get all the stuff from? You have to need.
For Hydra was full of trees, pine trees,
okay.
by that time. All of them have been cut in order to build our fleet. Almost of them. We still got a lot of pine trees, and you can pay a visit to. But all the side where the construction place of the battleships were taking place, all the trees have been cut. Because when you have war, when you are on war, and if the Hydras were going to be defeated, the island would have been ruined and burned to dust. This was the risk that they took. It was a very high political decision and strategic decision. Because they were wealthy, they didn't have to worry about the rest of Greece to become free at the end of the day. They were fully happy and satisfied. But they made this sacrifice by taking this huge political and strategic decision. And this is the reason I really admire those people, because actually the place we are here was the place where the Hydriot admirals, they were planning strategically their war in the sea. This particular place is the place. This particular room was the headquarters, the Pentagon, as you say in the United States, of the naval fighting Hydra. And actually, as I said before, the Hydriots also had this diplomatic feeling. They weren't just warriors. they had the diplomatic sense. Because at the end of the day, the Greek War of Independence can be characterized as a guerrilla war. What a guerrilla war aims to, it's not necessarily to have the decisive victory against your enemy, but what you are struggling for is recognition. This is your political aim, because as Clausewitz says, the war is the continuation of politics. In guerrilla war works in the other way. Politics is the continuation of war. You need political recognition. And what the Hydriots did, because they knew that at the end of the day, if they were keeping the fight going, they would not have survived. The political goal of the Greek Revolution was international recognition, as in all over other places. What PLO wants, what the Kosovars are aiming for. So a situation was similar for the Hydriots. So the Hydriots, because they had this diplomatic feeling, they said we need recognition. It's very hard for us militarily to beat the Ottoman Empire. It was a huge empire at the end of the day, and Hydra and the rest of the Greeks who were fighting were very tiny, very low materials and very low funding in order to keep the fight going. So the Hydra said, if we are going to contact a loan with the British bank, at the end of the day, before becoming a state, those guys will be struggling afterwards to take their money back. Which means that they have to recognize us as a state in order to start collecting taxes. So the Hydriots, they managed to contact a loan with the United Kingdom, and before the end of the Greek War of Independence. Of course, we signed a contract that we borrow 1,500,000 gold pounds. Actually, in either they arrived something like 600,000 pounds. All of them was prepaid the interest. But by this movement, the Hydriots make sure that the recognition of the Greek state will be achieved. And this explains the Navarino battle fight, where Britain, France and Russia destroyed the Turkish and Egyptian fleet. And since then, Greece started becoming independent and has been recognized internationally. Actually, the victory was diplomatic also. It was not also only military. And this is another reason why I really admire the Hydriots, because they conceive things on a political level, not necessarily just kill the infidels. Any more questions?
Now we're looking forward to looking at your island.
I want to see the island.
Yeah.
Feel free, but please
Yes.
taste our local delights.
And they're
Is this like a Turkish delight?
No.
It's a huge delight.